Where could I live without ever seeing another person again? If I could go anywhere in the world and live my entire life, let's say 40 more years with the absolute lowest chance of a human being ever encountering me, assuming I can live off the land, where would that be? I'd prefer a place I wouldn't have to fight to not die a minute in. But any extreme Antarctica ESQ places are welcomed answers too. It depends on how you define it. Do you just need to avoid people? Or have zero chance they will ever encounter you? There's places you could disappear to in the mountains in western USA. But you'd have to vigilantly work at not being spotted. The more remote and rugged, the harder it is to go at it solo. You could go full Smeagol and live off fish from a lake in a cave. Northern Canada and Central Australia are good places to start. Russia too. If you live in Canada, the government will pay you to sit alone in a cabin in the middle of nowhere and keep an eye out for wildfires. Apparently this isn't a thing anymore. I'm not from Canada. I just know someone in Canada who used to do this. Dude, you don't need to go this far. We all say you too when the waitress says to enjoy the meal. It's okay. Montana. East Montana. Windy AF, though. I invite you to northern Saskatchewan, Canada. Come enjoy our rivers, lakes, and trees. Our 50°C winters. Did I mention the rivers already? You like fishin'? We like fishin'. And when the cold comes, you will wish you were anywhere but here. But will you be completely alone? You bet. Just you. And some trees. And some cold fish. Boy, do we have some lonely places for you. Come on over. Come be alone. With your thoughts. And maybe a few beavers and moose. Snake Island off the coast of Brazil. Guarantee you won't be seeing anyone there. Anywhere. Just buy a bunch of land. Order groceries for doorstep delivery. There ya go. Alaska. But good luck LMAO. My friend lives on a ranch in rural Idaho and only sees people when he goes into town. Wyoming. The Australian outback. Go here. 48 degrees 52.6 feet S 123 degrees 23.6 feet W. The oceanic point of inaccessibility of Point Nemo. It is the farthest point from any land. You can't really get farther from people without going to space. On the off chance you encounter another vessel, you'll be able to see it from far enough away that you won't have to actually lay eyes on another person. You'll need a boat. I hope you like fishing. Bring a lot of vitamin C. Ya scurvy dog. Gotta be a tropical island out there with your name on it. Walter White would have been fine in New Hampshire, but he had to venture into town. A single room in Tokyo. You could live and die there without anyone noticing. They are well-known phenomenons called hikikomori, living alone without going out, and kadokushi, dying alone and left undiscovered. You would have a comfortable life with all your needs met, food, games, wanking without leaving your room, rolling on the floor laughing. Siberia. New Zealand Fiordland. Go remote as you like. No deadly creatures. Go live in a lighthouse? They usually pay a stipend, like $10,000 a year for someone to live there and keep the light on. I know of a few that are on unpopulated islands. Anywhere nice would be a hard gig to get. But if you're okay because alone out there all winter in 40 wind chills, some options are probably available. Just in case you're actually considering this, you will lose your sanity. It doesn't matter how much you're convinced that you hate people and are better off alone. Humans are social creatures. It is ingrained into us. You might not miss people consciously, but subconsciously your brain will start to deteriorate at the lack of interaction. You wouldn't live too long if you became lonely. Loneliness can determine your heart health even better than diet exercise. My mind was blown when I learned that. Aren't there parts of Siberia so wild and remote that a few people never knew the whole USSR thing happened? That seems like a good option. Any small village in the XU countries. Most of them are almost empty, but there's water and electricity, so you can actually live there. My grandma lives in one. There are 10 people total, but her house is isolated due to its position, and she only sees people when she invites someone over or visits someone on purpose. Good weather people will live there. I don't know how to never see anybody ever again, but there are some jobs where you'll not see anybody for long stretches of time. I was hiking in the Cordillera Negra in Peru with a friend up to a hydroelectric power plant in the mountains at around 5,000 meters above sea level, 16,400 feet. And up there it was just one dude manning the plant for a 3-month stretch at a time. About once every 1 or 2 weeks some hikers would show up to rest or spend the night. He was nice overall, though kinda creepy and a little weird. TBH. Wouldn't recommend to go there if I was a woman. I understand your sentiment, but there is no way you could do that, unless I am underestimating your skills. Can you make log cabins? Can you make sure your water is safe? Do you want Reddit on your pocket computer? Do you want pizza delivered? Read about the Maine hermit before doing anything rash. Supermax. Tasmania. We still have some very isolated areas here, and around my area there's a few known hermits that live in an already isolated area that went further into isolation, and the locals only see them every few months or so. Your house. A Hummer dealership. Tell me where you buried the bodies first. Siberia. Welcome to Russia. We even have a choice here. 1. Taiga. Hunter-gatherer playstyle. Can be cold at times and lots of predators there. There are some rangers, foresters there. But I'm sure you can find isolated enough corner. 2. Far East swamps, taiga mountains. Some farmable land. Extremely continental climate means there can be both extreme heat and extreme cold, and weather change rapidly. 3. A bit more risky about human contact or abandoned villages almost everywhere, starting near Ural Mountains and going further east. There are no working networks, but there are houses to salvage and worked land. With local knowledge, the Australian outback. Take up Buddhism. Become a monk. Then become a hermit. Monks will leave food outside of your hermitage. Who are you hiding from? The Arctic. Greenland perhaps. But that opens up a whole new can of problems the average human is most definitely not equipped for. Patagonia. Dick Proneck. There are some remote areas of Hawaii that would be perfect for this. Tell Elon to send Ya to space. I'd 100 sign a NDA and live my life in orbit. I live on only potatoes anyways, open mouth smile. So I could be a Martian for real. You won't live that long without human contact. I would love to just start a mini farm somewhere in the boonies. Of course I will be working remotely for income, and the farm is just for some self-sufficiency. So many basements waiting for you. What about sex? Do you not plan on having it? You'd need somewhere equatorial where you have a growing season all year around. There are a number of empty Pacific islands that would meet your needs. Tedapare Island would be ideal for your needs. The outback. Nowhere. At some point in your life you will have to interact with other humans. Unless you want to go full feral and run out to the woods into the wild style. There are parts of New Zealand where you can get a job monitoring native birds and basically only see people when you go into town for supplies.